Moderation helps everyone feel safe. To build a positive live chat experience for you and your viewers, choose who can participate. Set a delay between messages. Hide or put people in timeout. Manage message. Sorry. This is sorry. This thing popped up on the side and I gotta read it because if not, I mean, yeah, you know how it goes. Choose who can participate. Manage messages. Help for review. Add moderators to. Nobody's messaging me. It's fine. Okay. Um. Oh gosh, I get to relieve right. Sorry. Trying to fix the lighting a little bit. Geek. Getting older. What? Speaking of. Okay. So I have some thoughts on that one. Uh. So we always think memory starts going for a particular reason, especially as we get older. Maybe, and yes, I do believe there's a correlation there. Maybe it's something else that's causing it, not just getting older, but a reason why. What are you doing? Sorry, cat. But a reason why it's happening. That getting older equals kind of losing the memory. So, all right, for starters, let's go with this. So I'm in the van the other day with my Aunt Krista, and we're driving along, and she mentioned something about a funeral that she went to. And she's talking about how it wasn't a funeral at all. It was a party, like live music, food. It was a party. Well, of course, in my brain, I'm thinking wake, but I didn't say it. And she said, I've gone to like 2 or 3 funerals this year that were regular funerals. Um, but this wasn't a regular funeral. And she's like, that's what I want. I want that. And she started listing the things that were at this funeral party. But for the life of her, she couldn't remember who died. What? Why? Why not? Okay, so if my theory is correct, that's because her brain was doing that on purpose. On purpose? Why would my brain make me forget something on purpose? I can remember everything else around that piece of information, but not that one key piece of information. Well, let's be honest here. Is it really a key piece of information? Good job! Benji's got this train tracks game, and he's been trying to beat this time level, one of those levels where you've got so much time to do it. Good job. I'm proud of you. Um, where was I? Anyway, so you can remember all those key or all that information around it, but you can't remember that key piece of information. Why not? Maybe it's not as key as you think. So, if you've had moments like that where you can remember everything else around it, but just not that one piece of information, look at that piece of information and see how important it really is to the conversation. That's one. I'll get to the other part next. And the reason I say that is because so she's sharing this information, one, because it was interesting, right? Yeah. And two, because, emotionally speaking, it was interesting. She just wanted to share it. Functionally speaking, she's trying to set me up with, if I die, you know what I want. Here's that list. Here's my specific list. So her remembering who that was that passed away, does that have any consequence to what we were talking about? Am I supposed to mention that this party for my Aunt Krista, this funeral wake past whatever party is happening, and it's happening because she got the idea from her friend, her cousin, her someone so and so who did that? No, no. So I remembered all the key, or she remembered all the key information, but not that one piece. That, of course, her brain is telling her is important, right? It's important because the file folder in the head is titled that person's name, and then the information's in the folder. Well, why can't you name the person's name? It's not important. As we begin to get older, I believe our brain, they say as you get older, you get a little wiser, you start thinking more. So that's kind of like the more functional side, right? So that means any of the definitions on the functional side are going to start becoming stronger, which is including need. or don't need. Now, I'm not saying this because I know there's people out there that really do have probably memory things happen. There's,
I just done something hard that I think nobody ever done the time with one.
You want to look at the camera and say that he's had such a you want oh.
That I finally do it, and now I'm just gonna get playing people to the train station.
I'm proud of you. Good job, buddy.
Whoa.
Yay! I need coffee.
You know why there was a time limit one?
Why was there time limit one?
Maybe they made it get work very fast to work.
To work?
Yep.
Yep.
Like Rick.
Again, where was I? He's such a cutie pie. I guess I make an effort to not let this stuff stop my real life. That's why I get up from the computer for a few minutes and go take care of things. It happens. Anyway, what was I saying? Yes. I'm not saying because I know there's people out there like, no, I have real memory loss because of a memory issue, things like that. I get that. I'm not saying this is just another possibility. Okay. And that is that your brain doesn't actually need to remember certain pieces of information, so it doesn't put it out there. It's got it. It's got it. You'll probably come up with the answer later. It's the same thing we all do when we're like, oh, what is the name of that person? Even in our 20s, we're like, what's the name of that person it's on the tip of my tongue. Oh, what is that? And we can't think of it right away. And then we do. It just takes us a little longer when we get older, right? Well, that's because we don't need the information. Is that going to change our day by remembering that piece of information, that actor's name that was in that one movie? That one movie? Oh, the one where it blew up, the car, da, da, da. We can say all the stuff around it, but we can't say that person's name. Oh, man, what is it? Can't even do that because we don't need to. Because the person standing there that we're trying to explain it to goes, oh, yeah, I know what movie you're talking about. So they already know what movie. They don't need the actor's name. They know who we're talking about. So now you see how you've actually given the information. You don't need the rest of it. Your brain is convinced it still does, just because. But it doesn't. And as you get older and your brain begins to start working more functionally, more on the functional side, kind of natural, kind of not. That's tricky because getting older in itself is kind of tricky for the brain. One part of the brain is like, yeah, I get this. I know what's going on. The other part of the brain's going, what? No, this doesn't make sense. Things are changing and that doesn't change. Don't like change. Even if it's something that makes sense, we don't always do well with change, right? Well, the functional part of the brain is the same way. Change needs to make sense. Breaking down, does that make sense? It does in some ways because the brain knows at some point death is the end. That it's just a process to the brain. It's not scary. No. To the brain, it's just a process. So yes, it's reaching that point. It's getting there. But yeah, it's same as during the teenage years. Just saying, the hormonal changes, all that stuff makes sense in one way, not in another. Anyway. So, yes, when it comes to being able to remember something, do you need to? The other thing I noticed, it was a commercial, I think it's for Nariva, one of those brain things that helps people with their brain stuff as they get older, a supplement. It was a commercial with these two women standing in a grocery store, and some guy walks up and he's like, "Hi." I don't recall the commercial completely, but anyway, he walks up, he says hi, and the one woman is standing there going, and I think you're supposed to hear it in her head where she's going, Fred, what are some more F words for guys' names? Yeah, whatever. You know how you run through the list, right? And then the friend next to her says Frank, and she's like, oh yeah, Frank. Here's another one. Did she need to come up with a name? Her friend was standing right there, had the information. If your brain, this is silly, I know, but if your brain knows that you are in the company of somebody who also may have that information. Does it need to provide it? If somebody else is willing to do the dishes, if you're standing in the kitchen and they're standing at the other end of the kitchen and there's the sink in the middle and you're both willing to do dishes, who's going to back down first? Right. Yeah. Same idea. If somebody else is willing to do it, why should you? Your brain, as it becomes older, it becomes more functionalizing. And so, yes. Of course, it's very upsetting to us because 10 years ago, our memory might have been like that. We might have been constant like that, like that, like that. But our brain was working more emotional. And so doing things that we wanted to do, didn't need to do, but wanted to do, was a little more easier to do. And of course, as we get older, the brain, starts using those two sides differently because, like I said, it makes sense in some ways, in other ways, it doesn't. It is an imbalance. Yes, it is an imbalance because the brain gets used to working a certain way for a long time and it starts creating this imbalance. And now you're like, oh my gosh, well, it happens. But anyway, ta-da. And I'm going to leave it at that because I'm going to try to work on shorter videos, especially because I'm labeling these tea days so I can go in and they're going to be the ones that I'm going to try and work on first for editing. Yes, I'm going to learn editing in my old age. Let's see if I can remember how to do it once I do learn it. Maybe I won't need to. I'm going to end the stream. The only difficulty thing with this is that I can't just go right into another video. I have to do this like this. Oh well.